Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So we're going to make this really pretty little chaton bracelet, and this is made with components, and we're using a lot of mini duos and mini gem duos, which I think makes such a pretty bracelet. So here's what it looks like. I've alternated my color chatons that I've used here, but you can use all one color. You can use all colors of the rainbow. Here's the back. I love when a back is finished is finished as well as the front, so it just makes me feel like it's a nice complete piece. So here you go, here's your bracelet. So I'm going to clear this off, get a materials list going, and we'll get started. Let's get a materials list going. So you'll need some mini duos and some mini gem duos, and I love these together. They make I think such a pretty delicate component. You need some 8mm chatons, and you'll need more than that. You need one for each component. This is a component bracelet. You need some 3mm bicones. You need some 3mm pearls, druck beads, something round. Some 3mm bugle beads, 11/0 seed bead, 15/0 seed bead. You need a clasp. I'm using a toggle clasp here, and you'll need some jump rings because we're going to extend the clasp a little bit using jump rings. You need a stop bead. So you have all needle sizes handy. Your size 12 beading needle is going to be your best friend for this. And I have 8-pound or 6-pound Fireline in whatever color, goes best with your particular bead colors. Okay, so I think that's everything. So everything will be listed in the description box below the video: sizes, shapes, amounts, because these are not correct amounts that I have in here. They're just representations of what you'll be using. So don't forget to click the down arrow in the show more. The box will open and all the goodies will be there. Anything I forgot, anything I want to add, any coupon codes I might have, all kinds of goodies. All right, so let's clear this off and get started. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 30 inches of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave maybe a 7-inch tail, 8-inch tail. We might use that tail later just to tighten up our bezel. So I picked up and dropped down to my stop bead, a mini duo and a 15/0, and I did that 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I'm going to sew these into a circle by sewing through the first bead after my stop bead. So that's my mini duo, and I'm just going to continue all the way around to reinforce and come out one of the mini duos. This is what I have so far. So I've reinforced everything, and I came, after I passed my stop bead, I just came through a few more beads just to make sure that's nice and snug. So I'm exiting the bottom hole of a mini duo. I'm just going to sew through the top hole of that mini duo. Next up, I'm going to pick up my mini gem duo, and I'm going to sew through the top hole of that next mini duo. Just like that. Then I'm going to pick up my 3mm round bead, pearl, druck, like so. Go through the next mini duo, and I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. So gem duo, and then 3mm round bead. Just make sure, is that 3? Yes. Okay. There we go. You're going to do that all the way around. Come to my last bead, so it's the 3mm round bead. I'm going to sew through the top hole, of course, the next mini duo, and on through the bottom hole of the gem duo, and through the next mini duo. There we go. Like that. A nice pull. And this is what I have so far. I'm going to flip my piece around like this. So I've just turned it onto the back. That's where the flat part of the gem duo is. And I'm going to pick up, I'm exiting this mini duo. I'm going to pick up 5 of my 15/0s like that. So I'm exiting here. I'm going to skip over the pearl and sew through the next mini duo, gem duo, and the mini duo, mini gem duo, and the next mini duo. So I'm just going from here over to the next one. So I put my 5 15/0s on. Just going to pull it so it just stays like so. I'll do that again. 5 of my 15/0s. I'm exiting the top hole of this mini duo, skipping over the pearl, sewing through the top hole of the next mini duo, and on through that mini gem duo and the next mini duo. And then you're going to repeat that all the way around. Make sure they pop in front of the round bead. So you want 5 here, and you're going to do the same thing here. Okay, coming down to my last 5 15-0s, exiting this mini duo, I'm going to skip over the pearl, sew through the next mini duo and the mini gem duo. And this mini duo, like so. And then up through the first 3 of the 15-0s you put on. So here we go. So I'm exiting that. I've gone up the first 3 beads of those 15-0s. This is what we have so far. So we're exiting bead number 3 of that first group of 5. So right there, I'm going to pick up 4 15-0s, and I'm going to sew through bead number 3 of the next group of 5. So 1, 2, 3. Just bead number 3, like that. So we're making our little pocket for our stone. So I'm picking up 4 15-0s again, exiting bead number 3 of that group of 5. I'm going to sew through bead number 3 of the next group of 5. 1, 2, 3, right there. And I'm just going to do that all the way around. Coming down to my last group of 4 beads to put on. So right now I'm just going to take my stone and put it face down into that little pocket. Here's my last group of 4. I'm going to sew through bead number 3. That's the original one we came out of that next group of 5. If I can get my needle in there. There we go. So like that. Just holding the stone with my finger at the moment, and then kind of pull everybody into place. That's what it looks like. And then you're just going to advance through the next 4 beads, you know, so all the beads that you just put on. And I'm going to pull those tight. And then I'm going to skip that connection bead in the corner there. I'm going to sew through the next 4. So I'm just going through the 4 beads that we put on in the last round. I'm skipping that corner bead like that. And see how that's tightening everything up nicely. So I'm going to do that all the way around. So just do that until you've completed it all the way around. So I've come through my last group of 4, and I'm going to go on through that corner bead now. So that connection bead right there, so right through here. Make sure you can see me. There we go. And then I'm going to pull everybody tight, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm exiting that little 15-0, that little corner 15-0. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, a bugle bead, and a 15-0. So exiting here, I'm going to sew through the top hole of this gem duo. So we're doing a little base here to make it, you know, nice and sturdy. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, a bugle bead, and a 15-0. Exiting here, I'm going to sew through this corner bead right here. So this little connecting bead right there. And that's going to put that bugle bead on. 15-0, bugle bead, 15-0. Now I'm going to sew through the top hole of the next mini gem duo. Like that. 15-0, bugle bead, 15-0. So through this guy right here, so that little 15-0 connecting bead. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just putting sort of a base on, and this is going to give our unit a lot of strength. And if you make it an earring, it'll look pretty from the back, but I just think it makes it, you know, gives it a nice structure. So you're just going to continue that all the way around. Okay, I'm going to put on my last 15-0 bugle bead, 15-0. I'm going to sew through that little connecting bead. So now I have everything done to that point. So I'm exiting, you know, that little connecting bead inside there. I'm going to sew up through that, the next 15-0, bugle bead and 15-0. I'm just going to pull that into place. So you'll be exiting right here. Next up, I'm going to pick up 3 15-0s. I'm exiting this 15-0 right here. I'm going to sew through this 15-0, the bugle bead, and the 15-0. Like that. So I'm exiting that 15-0 at the bottom of the bugle bead. I'm going to sew through my connection bead right there, and then up the next 15-0 bugle bead. 15-0, like that. I'm going to pick up 3 15-0s. I'm going to sew. I'm exiting this 15-0. I'm going to sew through the bugle bead. 15-0. Excuse me, 15-0 bugle bead. 15-0. I'll get it. Like that. Through that 15-0. And the next 15-0 bugle bead. 15-0. Like that. Give that a little pull. Just going to repeat that all the way around. My last 3 15-0s, exiting this 15-0, sewing through the 15-0 bugle bead. 15-0 through my connection bead. Now we have everybody on. So you'll be exiting one of those connection beads, you know, in between the bugle 15-0 bugle bead. 15-0. So I just want you to sew up. So exiting this connection bead in here, I'm going to sew up to the next 15-0 bugle bead and 15-0. Like that. And I'm just going to turn it on the right side, and I'm going to sew right through this mini gem duo. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, a 3mm bicone, and a 15-0, and I'm going to sew. So I'm exiting the mini gem duo. I'm going to sew through the round bead, pearl, direct, whatever you've got there. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, 3mm bicone, and a 15-0, and I'm going to sew through the top hole of this mini gem duo. And that's going to embellish one side. Now you can embellish all sides with this group here, but I'm just going to do 2 sides. So this is what it looks like. So that's where my connection beads are. I'm going to connect my units, but you can put the embellishment on all sides if you like. So if you want to put it on all sides, you're just going to continue doing what we just did here. If not, you're just going to, so you're exiting this mini gem duo, you're just going to sew down through the next 15-0 bugle bead, 15-0, through the connection bead, through the next 15-0 bugle bead and 15-0, like that. And then you're going to go through the mini gem duo. So you've just worked your way around to this side so you can put this group right here. So I'll let you do that and then come back and we'll continue. Embellishments are on, and this is what I have. So I'm just going to make a number of these to fit my bracelet size. I think I'm going to do 7, which is I think going to give me about a 6.5 inch bracelet, 6.5 to 7 inch, something like that. So you'll just play with how many units you need or components you need, and you could also like extend the end a little bit if you don't want to add like another component to the end of your bracelet. So get all your units done and then come back and we'll make a bracelet. Let's connect some units together. So here I've done a bunch of them and I just love how that looks. We've got a little crisscross connection there. So what we're going to do is you're going to add a thread, and what I did is I added it through one of the mini gem duos. I came through the 15-0, 3mm bicone and 15-0. So you'd be exiting right there. Okay, so I'm exiting this 15-0. I'm going to pick up 3 15-0s. I'm going to skip the purl and sew through the 15-0 and the bicone, but not the next 15-0. So just coming out of the bicone right there. So just like that. I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and I'm going to sew through the bicone and the 15-0. Just the bicone and 15-0 on the next unit. But wait a minute. Using the wrong unit here. There we go. Because I've alternated my colors, so I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. There we go. Okay, so I'm coming through the bicone and the 15-0 on the other side. Let me get through that 15-0. So like that. This is what it looks like so far. We're exiting this 15-0 after the bicone and above the purl. I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and I'm going to sew through that third bead of the 5 that are right here, or that just right through that center bead, 15-0 right there, like that. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm going to sew through the 15-0 and the bicone on the other side, like that. It's going to make my crisscross like that. And then I'm going to pick up my 11-0, and I'm going to sew through the bicone on the other side. So exiting this bicone, sewing through the bicone on the other side, like that. And now I have my little unit on. I'm just going to go through all those beads again just to reinforce that with you a little bit. So exiting the bicone, you're going to sew through the next 15-0, like that. The 15-0, the next 15-0, and then that center one. So I'm just reinforcing by going through all the beads again. So through this 15-0 and then the 15-0 bicone on this side. Bicone there. And then you're going to continue through this 11-0, like that. And then down this bicone and 15-0. So we're just retracing our steps here through this 15-0, the middle 15-0, like that. Whoops. And then through this 15-0, so going around the 15-0 here and the bicone. So we've come all the way around, and what you can do here is if you have enough thread, you can sew through this 15-0 and then the gem duo, and you can work your way around to this area and connect your next piece on. Or you, if you've decided, hey, I want to embellish this side, you can put this embellishment here over here, and you'll do it on the other side and just connect your next piece. So there you go. Okay, so here's my all my units sewn together. I have 8 of them, and I'm going to put on a toggle clasp. I tried like 5 or 6 different clasps on this, like box clasp, slide, this and that, but I think the toggle just looks the prettiest. So to prepare it for the way I want to put it on, I've put a jump ring, or in this case, this is a little piece of a Rolo chain that I have, which I think is pretty because it's nice and it's a nice heavy gauge, so it's pretty thick. Let me pull in for that. So I've added a jump ring, and I think this is probably 4 or 5 millimeter. So there, so I've got that one on the ring end, and then on the bar end, this is where you can adjust. So for this one, I took 3 pieces, let's say 3 jump rings or 3 pieces of chain. I've started with it in this direction, this piece, and then this piece, and I added it to my toggle bar. Now you can make it longer if you need it longer, if you need to adjust the size of your bracelet. So prep your clasp, and then we'll attach. So I threaded my needle with about a foot and a half of thread. Put on a stop bead. I left a tail to sew in. I've just come up through the gem duo, the bicone, 15-0 pearl, 15-0 and the bicone. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, my 3 millimeter pearl, and I'm going to sew through the ring on the clasp. And then I'm going to pick up the 3 millimeter pearl or round bead and an 11-0, and I'm going to sew back through all these beads. So the gem bicone, 15-0 pearl, round bead, 15-0, and the bicone right there. So just went around in a circle. And now before you tighten this up and reinforce, you see where that ring is right there, that jump ring? Push it down like that and then pull. So you want that jump ring to be sitting in between the pearls, not on the thread. And you'll have to hold one end, you see, there you go, and pull the other end while you sew this in. And that way your jump ring is not on a thread. It's not going to pull out. It's going to stay right here in between the pearls. So then all you're going to do at this point is just reinforce all the way around, and then you're going to sew this thread in nice and tight. Let's make an earring out of one of the components. So I'm going to hold it this way because and I think that's really pretty. I mean, you can hold it this way and just change your, add more bicones or take them off and, you know, have it go this way. But because the bracelet is sort of done by, you know, sort of squares this way, I thought it would be pretty, and it's a little different to make that type of earring. So the only thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to mimic the end of the bracelet where I put my ear wire on. So see that? All right, so thread your needle with just a little bit of thread, put on a stoppie, leave enough of a tail to sew in. I started back here through a mini gem duo. I came through the bicone, 15-0 pearl, 15-0 and the bicone, and this is where your thread will be exiting. 15-0 and a 3mm pearl. I'm going to go through the ring on my ear wire like that. I'm going to pick up a pearl and a 15-0, and I'm going to work my way back this way. So through the bicone, you know, that whole group of beads until I'm exiting the bicone again on this side. You want to make sure that that ring stays in between the pearls, not on the thread. I'm going to come through again to tighten this up. As I tighten, you see how that ring is going to stay right there. And then I'm going to go through all the beads again. And then, yeah, see, now when I give it a nice tight pull, that's what it looks like. You're just going to sew that thread in. So I think this is like a really pretty, you know, just a pretty addition and a very simple earring to go with this bracelet. Okay, so I've got my clasp on. I did the exact same thing with the bar end that I did with the ring end. So just like that. So this is what it looks like. I think it really came out nice. I love it. I think it's so pretty and sparkly. Here's the back. I love it when the back is finished as nicely as the front. So here you go. My bracelet turned out to be around 6.5 to 6 3/4 inches, which is perfect for me. So I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope you make this and post it on Facebook. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.